You've been told by the internet that when you retire, you should flip a storage unit, start a drop shipping company, or buy a laundromat. But what if those things were meant to keep you in debt so you couldn't enjoy your friends and family or get to know yourself after 50? I'm going to show you what I would do if I were starting over at 50. I'm 45 today. If I were starting over at 50, here's exactly what I would do. I'm not going to go back to school. I'm not going to chase a trendy side hustle by somebody that is 20 or 30. And I'm not going to be in my influencer era. If I had to start over at 50, I'd use what I already have, which is experience, relationships, and credibility. You are not starting from zero over 50. Just because you're financially disrupted, it doesn't mean you're inexperienced. Quite the opposite. At 50, you already have decades of experience, industry knowledge, relationships, pattern recognition, hard-earned stories, and credibility. I want you to write this down. You can pause it if you need to. What do people ask me for help with? What have I done well more than once? What can I solve faster than most? What expensive mistakes can I prevent? What industry do I truly understand? So I would protect your runway first. Know your number. What is the bare minimum monthly number that would cover your expenses? How many months of runway do you want? And what could you pause? A bridge job is not failure, it's funding. So you're going to sell a service before building a product. You're going to get paid to solve one problem. Here's the formula that has made me millions. I help a specific type of person achieve a specific result without this major frustration. You're going to fill in the blanks. And this is why you should do a service first, meaning a done for you or done with you. It costs you almost nothing to launch if you do something digitally online. It sells quickly because you're going to find a pain point that other people have. Customers will tell you what you need. Testimonials will come from doing things for other people, again, online, and repeat work becomes your product later. I'll tell you what I mean. So you're going to pick an expensive problem. People pay when it's urgent, costly, or emotionally heavy, something that you fix for them. And vague doesn't sell. Don't say, I provide general life coaching. Say, I help women returning to work reposition their experience and win interviews. Be specific no matter what your lane is. And one simple offer can be $500 to $2,000 and can add up quickly. So here's some simple math. You have 2 clients that each pay you $1,000, or 5 clients that do, or 4 clients that pay you $1,500. You don't need to go viral to breathe again. You don't have to be a social media influencer to make this type of money. Now you're going to sell whatever your offer is before you perfect it. You're going to make a page that says who the offer is for, what the problem is that you're solving, what result that person will get if they use your product, which can be something you do for them, what's included, the price, and the next step. Now, when you go to Disney World, if the person who sold you the Disney World trip, did they say, hey, when you go, you're going to get this trip, it costs $2,000, and you're going to get to the airport and you're going to stand in line at TSA and someone's going to yell at you and embarrass you in front of other people. It's going to take you a long time to get to the gate. And once you get on the plane, it's going to be a child kicking the back of your seat for the next 45 minutes to an hour and a half into your flight. Do they say that? No, they show you pictures of Disney World and they show people having a great time. They sell the destination, not the trip. That is what you're going to do with your offer. Now, your network is the funnel. We hear this word funnel, which is taking a large amount of people, so the top people, down a process to the people who will pay you. And we wonder, well, who do I actually sell this to? You're going to sell it at first to people you already know, coworkers or past coworkers, current or past clients, vendors you've worked with, people on LinkedIn, and just people in your ecosystem at large. You're not asking them for a loan or help or a rescue. You are offering them a solution. I've seen it happen time and time again. Now, you're going to also use AI as leverage, not as the business. Don't get overwhelmed if you think AI, I have to turn myself into an AI agency or I have to become a guru. You're actually just going to use practical AI to give you leverage because your judgment is more important than AI. And when you combine the two, you're unstoppable. AI makes you faster, but it cannot manufacture 25 years of pattern recognition. Your first clients are your research. After every conversation, track which problem hits the hardest, the exact words that they use to describe what they were feeling, what they have already tried, because you're going to ask them, what outcome they'll pay for, either explicitly told to you or implied, and the objections that keep repeating. This is too expensive, or I just don't have time to do that, or I don't think this will work, or my spouse doesn't really want me to do this. What are some things that keep repeating during these conversations you're having with people as you talk about your offer? You're going to build public proof around one subject. This is the big one. Don't try to be famous, be findable and trusted. So you're going to choose one platform, one problem to solve, and be useful every time while you're building this. Now, move from labor to leverage. This is why we're not doing the things I talked about at the top of this video. We're not starting a storage wars business. You're going to do something for the customer. This is a one-on-one service. Then, after you have done that a few times and you have some customers, you're going to turn your offer into a done with you service where you're going to put people together and show them the steps to do this. Then the next iteration of that will be simply to teach it to them. And this is when you can pull back and actually do it more and more hands off. And you're just giving them the course, the templates, all of the things that they need, the tools, and you can have it on autopilot 24/7. And then ultimately, you're going to build the flywheel that makes this whole thing work, and you're going to own equity in a true business. So at the beginning, you start with doing a service for someone, which gives you cash flow. Then after you've done that a few times, you go to systems, you embed systems using some practical AI to give you different types of leverage. And then you have an engine going, you have ownership of that engine. Don't worry about getting outside funding. You just have ownership of it. And that is what builds wealth. Here's what I would not do. We're going to skip every bit of this, okay? We're not going to do 6 months or whatever of picking a business name, not with AI around, okay? We're not going to build an entire app before we find our first customer. It's a waste of time. We're not going to build a 40 module course before we even have one sale. This is what stops so many people. They want to build this magnum opus before anybody has indicated or paid that they would want to. We're not going to have 5 side hustles at once, the most important one on this list. We're not going to undercharge because we feel new, because we ain't. And we're not going to hide our age. Don't compete by acting younger. Compete by being clearer, wiser, and more useful. Now, the first 30 days could look like this. Days 1 through 3, we put together our inventory, and that is figuring out what our skills are, what our relationships are, and what results we've already given someone. So we're going to do an inventory of what we already have and write it down. Then we're going to talk to people. We're going to talk to people we already know who are warm in our ecosystem. We're going to have conversations. We're going to ask people things. We may not even need to sell right this second. We just want to get some information, kind of like you're doing a survey. Then we're going to package based on those conversations and what our skills are and our interests are. We're going to package into one offer that solves one problem for one type of person, and it has one simple price. Then we're going to start reaching out to people in earnest and start making that offer to people. Then, as we start to get 1, 2, and 3 sales, we will start to deliver. And once we have the first client, and starting with that first client, and every client after that, we will ask for a testimonial. The goal of month 1 isn't perfection, it's proof. You're getting points on board. Remember, your experience is the asset. And one thing I want you to know is that if you feel nervous about any of this, one huge hack that has worked for me over and over again and has worked for so many of the thousands of students I've helped is to do this offer for free for someone. Do it for free and simply say to them, I'm going to charge X amount for this, 300, 500, 1,000. I would like to give this to you for free or do this for you for free. And all I ask in return is for you to give me a testimonial at the end that I can use publicly. Then you do it as if they paid you. You get their testimonial. If it's a great testimonial, you use it to help sell in the future. If it's a bad testimonial, you use it to learn from so you can make a better offer. This is what I would do if I were starting over at 50.